The whole point of gendered bathrooms is how people react. Do you think there's a good ethical reason?
No, it's not. It's about the bathroom you personally feel comfortable.
No, hold on. Do you think that bathrooms are ethics? Do you think if we go and study like ancient philosophy, we're gonna find like information about like men should have men's bathrooms and women should have women's bathrooms? They only exist for people's comfort. That's it. You wanna make the one person who wants to go into the bathroom with they identify with, their comfort supersedes the comfort of everybody else in that bathroom.
I don't think it's supersede. I think it's on par.
No. One person's comfort is on par with 10 people's comfort. You'd say that, on par with.
I would, because of the example of the deformity or the bearded woman, yeah.
I think this is what happens when people start going crazy with the plastic surgery stuff of like everybody doing infinite plastic surgery. Like this is like Hellspawn world.
I watched some of your Blair White interview debate. Not all of it, just like a bit, and they were showing the examples of when you were on these podcasts talking to people about like trans bathroom stuff. And can you look at me?
Okay. I can see you right there.
But that's not where you're looking.
I'm used to seeing my chat, but go ahead.
What are you? Do you want to debate them?
No, but it's just good to keep track.
Pause.
Go ahead.
You want to debate them on trans issues?
No, go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
It's not Chat Friday.
Okay. Go ahead.
What was I gonna say?
Blair White, trans issues, bathrooms. Yeah.
Right. She's great, but you were talking to people on like the whatever podcast. They showed clips of that in the debate, and they were talking about like, oh, people walking into the bathroom, and then you always say like, okay, what if Blair White or Buck Angel walked into the bathroom, whatever. And then on Blair's show, you were saying, or during your debate, you said, I bring that up as an example because they always want to pretend that it's like some big, gnarly, big dude in like a wig, like walking in. That's like a very niche example. And that argument confused me a lot because I would say like, Blair, like a girl who's super famous and probably invested upwards of like 6 figures into like facial feminization surgery, is probably as niche, if not more niche, than someone who just feels like a visceral sense of dysphoria and discomfort, and they want to be able to use the bathroom of their choice ASAP, so they go and like buy a wig and lipstick and stuff. Like I would say, I don't understand what the point of your argument is if you're just catering it towards someone who looks like
the point
Blair.
Of the argument is that the gender expression you have is probably the bathroom you should go into. Blair clearly expresses as a woman, she'd probably go into the woman's bathroom.
But what if they don't clearly? What if it is like the burly man in a wig? Like
then you probably shouldn't go into the woman's bathroom.
But then don't you think you're just creating like an unfair standard of like you need to invest a ton of money into your transition?
Maybe.
That's why I just don't understand what your argument's for, because it's not.
Well, hold on, wait. What about that isn't? What part of that isn't understandable? If you should go into the bathroom that you express with the most.
Not identify with.
No, not identify with. Express with the most.
Express visually, as in
that's
like.
That's what gender expression is. How you.
Optics.
Yeah, express your gender. Yeah.
So probably undergo surgery.
Well, it doesn't have to be surgery. It could be hormones. It could be whatever. It just depends. But yeah.
So you think during their surgeries or like pre their surgeries, while they're still undergoing hormones, up until like they're fully passable, they should be using the bathroom of their sex?
Probably depends, but most probably do this anyway. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious what your position is.
I think the vast, like 99% of trans people already do this, I think.
Do they?
Yes.
So, but you're not saying in terms of like actual genitals, just in terms of like secondary sex characteristics.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the basis for that, because I feel like if anything, if you're arguing with conservatives, they're probably gonna be more uncomfortable with like a dick in the woman's bathroom than someone with like masculine facial features.
You would never know.
I don't think it's about that.
It absolutely is about that. You don't know if the person next to you is a dick or not. You have no idea. It's about what they present as.
I think it's just the idea for conservatives.
It might be the idea, but that's why I'm showing the example. I'm showing the example that that's retarded. That idea is stupid.
Why?
Because if Buck Angel went into the woman's bathroom, people wouldn't be okay with that. But he doesn't have a penis.
I feel like some conservative. I don't know. Maybe
no.
You think so?
No.
If they knew, I'm saying.
You would never find it. No conservative, no matter how conservative they are.
Even if they knew. When I'd be like, oh, Buck Angel, you can come to my bathroom, hang out with me and my daughter. It's cool because you've got a vagina. They don't care about females on at birth entering male restrooms.
Sure, you can reverse it. They say the same thing. No, they do care.
Moral panic.
Well, sure. You can say it with Blair White too then, right? No conservative would be okay with their little boy in a bathroom, then Blair White comes in.
I don't know if that's true. I really think they're really fixated on the genitals.
They say they are, but that's buying into the conservative talking point, but it's absolutely not true. We could go and test this. If you wanted to, this would be a fun podcast.
No, I'm not saying test it. If they think they're a girl, obviously, but I'm saying if they knew.
Well, but they don't know. That's the whole point. We go by gender expression. They don't know.
I don't know if someone's peeping through my
No, but they don't know. So the only way they go by is expression. They see somebody, they would assume they have a dick or don't have a dick. That's why I'm saying you should go to the bound that you express as. Because that's what people are going to assume anyway.
I don't know. That feels weird then, because then you're, just saying people who don't fully express, but they're still trans, still have to go to the bathroom that makes me uncomfortable. That's
how it goes, yeah. But they would know, most trans people do that because they're not going to go to the bathroom where everybody's going to start looking at them and fighting with them. I don't think most trans people would want that experience.
So that's your take then?
That is my take, yeah.
What would be like, besides Blair White, like an example of someone who's just like right over the edge of expressing?
Over the edge, nobody would probably give a fuck. Conservatives might now because they're hardcore trying to clock people to make a point. Like apparently, I only read the headline of this, so warning, this story might be a complete and total bullshit. But I just saw a headline recently where apparently some guy was screaming at some girl on a field because he thought she was trans. The girl's like 9 years old, but he was just saying that because she was running fast.
Oh.
So like, yeah, maybe now conservatives are obsessed with trying to clock people, but otherwise, I don't know if girls would, or I don't know if anybody would care because they just see somebody, they would make an assumption and then they would just, go on their way.
Yeah, I just feel like that's probably not a healthy standard because when you and I were watching What is a Woman, I think we both agreed that like the non-binary stuff is probably a bit less damaging than transitioning on a whim because we were saying that like it's more reversible. So if you're not cutting the standard that in order to go to the bathroom that makes you feel comfortable, you need to undergo like a ton of surgery and treatment.
You keep saying a ton of surgery and treatment. You don't need FFS. You don't need bottom surgery to pass as a trans person.
You'd probably need like to do something with your tits or like do something with your face.
Some people get really big boobs just from HRT.
No, I'm saying, but like what if they...
Does anyone know if Taff had any surgery at all, guys? Does anyone know if Taff has had any surgery at all?
I'm saying it's probably healthier to have a culture where people don't feel pressure to undergo hormones just so they can go into the bathroom of their choice.
They already feel the pressure. Fuck.
Because then that's where you get the issues of then detransitioners being like, oh, I did this kind of on a whim. So I was saying, like, I don't think that should be the standard for bathrooms. If you're pro-trans in the bathroom of their...
Oh, recently she did. If you're pro-trans wait, what?
I was saying, like, don't you think that'd probably be in... Like, argument would make sense to me if you were totally against people going into the bathroom of their gender identity. But since you're not, you're kind of, like, in the middle of it. I guess I just don't understand.
Hold on, to be clear, let me just reiterate for the 50-minute time. I'm not in the middle of anything. My position is very clear. You typically will have a gender expression. You should go to the bathroom that matches your gender expression.
Yeah, and then it's kind of pressuring people to make their gender expression match their gender identity. But
that's the whole point of being trans, is to try to eventually bring your gender expression.
Yeah, but it's at a different pace.
Sure, but I mean during that pace, if there's a transitionary... you should be able to
go piss without necessarily rushing through hormones.
I mean, there's a transitionary period where it's awkward, but I mean, what are you going to do? Like...
I don't know, I guess that just feels like a random position.
It's nothing about that position is random. The words you're using are random.
What do you mean?
My words are not random at all.
What did I say that's random?
That my position is random. I'll repeat it for the third time. It's very clear. You should go into the bathroom you express it. Your position is random. Well, doesn't it take you a long time to get your gender expression to match? Therefore, we should make up some totally new arbitrary standard, like what kind of genitals you have? I'd say no, because the general argument is...
I didn't say genitals.
Okay, then what do you think? What do you think the argument should be? No. What do you think the argument should be then? Because you haven't given me one. What bathroom should people go into?
Gender identity.
Okay, so then you would be saying Blair White should be going into the bathroom, like if
women's, because she's identifies as a woman. I said gender identity.
Oh, gender identity. Okay, so then you think big burly man with a wig should be going into the girls' bathroom?
If they identify as trans, yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying like what?
No. Don't say you're just saying. Give me a position. If that's your position, that could be your position.
That's my position.
Okay, say that there is a AMAB, assigned male at birth.
Yes.
Still has a lot of facial hair, but they have a wig on. They just started HRT yesterday, and they're about to go to the female bathroom. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think most people would have huge issues with that.
And like I said, I think a lot of conservatives would have issues with in the women's bathroom, and you're saying, well, it's okay because they would never know, and I'm saying just because they don't know doesn't make it okay with them. Like, they'd still want that standard to be there even if they're unaware of it. Same way if they can't see if someone's being raped in a stall, that doesn't make it okay.
I think we could go to Target. I think we could have signs out and we could pull people going into the restrooms. We can show Blair White and we could show Buck Angel. And we can say, hey, just curious, because you are very big on sex and organs, would you rather have Blair White going into the women's restroom or the male restroom? And then for Buck Angel, we'd rather have him going into the male.
Would you mention their genitals? Because that's literally
I would
what
mention
I'm
their genitals.
about.
I would mention their genitals. Say, hey, just so you know, Buck Angel has a vagina. Would you rather him going into the female restroom? And then we'll pull conservatives. My guess is, even in today's climate, 8 out of 10 conservatives would say they should probably go to the bathroom they identify with.
Is there any basis for that? I really
Just a
don't
feeling.
think so.
I know you don't.
I saw you on whatever, and I don't think they were saying that.
No,
were they?
but that's because they were on a podcast trying to make arguments. They don't think they believe any of that. But we could go. We should go pull it.
Why don't you just pull it?
Because I don't. It would have to be. It needs to be real life people going into a bathroom.
But you'd have to ask them if they're conservative first, because I'm talking.
Yeah, we would. We'd ask them. Say, are you conservative? We could even be more serious. Did you vote for Trump?
Because conservatives don't believe that even if you like, they're the ones who say like, oh, just because you like pump yourself with hormones, it doesn't make you a woman. So they'd be very contradictory if they were to say Blair White should go into the women's bathroom just because her gender expression appears female. Like, they wouldn't say that.
Logically, they would feel that way, but they're fighting really hardcore against their intuition there. I think if you had a son, you asked them, you would see that they would buck. They'd buckle, and they would change their opinion. It reminds me of every single show where Ben Shapiro, and I think it happened with Steven Crowder. Somebody show me the pronouns one. Okay, there are so many compilations of this where, so as you're saying, logically I agree, conservatives are like, they're not real women, they're not real men, they're not real women. But even in their mind, they actually do think of them as men and women, I think.
That doesn't matter because...
Okay, never mind. All right.
No, I'm still saying, like, even if it's hard for Ben to use the pronouns, even if he looks at Blair White and he's like, okay, I know on paper that this is an AMAB, but you know, I'm slipping up and saying she, even though he believes personally in saying like the pronouns that correlate to like your sex assigned at birth, that doesn't necessarily mean then that they would from that create a standard to say you should go into a bathroom
that would be the standard
based off my visceral reaction. They don't go from point A to point B like that.
They would. That's how everybody moves through life. Nobody is constantly evaluating every single person they meet using some huge list of deductive logic.
Like you just said, Ben messes up on pronouns. He literally said to Blair White in their debate, if I was writing an article about you, I would use he pronouns, and I would say in the caption like,
yes,
Blair
but the point is,
trans.
if Ben was going to the bathroom and he saw a guy look like a guy, that would be it.
It's not about seeing. You were asking about. You keep changing the goalposts. It went from like asking people outside, would you be okay with this, to then how would they feel if they saw it and didn't know. So you're going from a place of lack of awareness to awareness, then back to lack of awareness about like what's in their pants.
I'm saying that if you see the person, their gender expression, then you're probably okay with them being in a certain area. That's all I'm arguing.
Okay, on a visceral reaction or from a place of ignorance if they don't know what's in their pants. I'm saying if you were to ask Ben, even if he misuses the pronouns, he would never say like Blair White should go into the female bathroom. He would never say that.
He might not say it because logically they're trying to play something, but in terms of how society would work, in terms of who should go in whose bathrooms, and in terms of what he's seeing in a bathroom, I think emotionally that's what they would feel every single time. But we'd have to ask people outside, I guess. Just
because they have that visceral reaction doesn't mean they see it as morally okay. So like if someone looks...
Well, morally okay, that's a totally different thing.
So if someone's 16 and they look like they're 25, and you know what I mean, people have sex with them, and then you were to say like, oh, conservatives are okay with having sex with 16-year-olds because if you presented them with a 16-year-old who looks older, they'd fuck them. That doesn't mean they'd say then, oh, then it's okay to fuck 16-year-olds. Just because you have a visceral reaction and you feel different looking at it, doesn't mean they would deduce like a moral standard from that.
I wasn't trying to say what was like the moral decision or not.
They wouldn't be okay with it, regardless of whether they mess up on doing their conservative pronoun stuff.
Okay. I think that if everybody went into the bathroom with their gender expression, or I'm sorry, identity instead of expression, I think conservatives would start complaining eventually would change back. Because the emotional visceral reaction would be so off that eventually be like, okay, never mind, this is retarded. We don't want to do this.
Do you think that's a good place to create a moral standard from? Like the way conservatives are going to react?
I think that's how most of our, well...
Because then think about like everything you're causing. Again, you're causing trans people to rush through treatment and surgery and transition.
Wait. You asked me, is it a good thing to figure out emotional center based on people's comfort or whatever? When we talk about who goes into the bathroom, we're not creating morals and ethics and hardcore, like, we're just doing things that make people feel safe and comfortable. So yes, I do think that's okay. Like who goes into the bathroom it's not about like hardcore ethics and morals. It's not immoral to go into the woman's bathroom or guy. It's about like it's immoral because it makes people uncomfortable. Okay. So yes, I am appealing to people's comfort.
So I saw this video of a woman, this like woman in South Asia, and she has this condition where like she has a ton of facial hair, so she has like a beard, and she's also religious, so she doesn't cut her hair, because I think one of those religions. And so she's not trans, she's a woman, she's just very, very hairy, has like a beard, like a full beard. Do you think she should go into the men's bathroom then, or feel pressured to shave her beard and literally disavow her religion because of the optics, because people might look at her and think that's a man?
Probably, maybe. Yeah, it depends on how she looks. Sure.
That's actually what you think, or are you just saying that because you're tired?
But you're giving me like a one-off, like exceptionally rare, like somebody has a genetic disease that like is a...
No.
But like
it's
in that
not
case,
about
I would say yes.
one-off.
I would say yes.
I'm saying it's more about the identity than it is about the optics. Because people get uncomfortable if they see someone with a deformity in the bathroom. I don't think we should base fucking standards off how people react, because people are superficial as
The whole point of gendered bathrooms is how people react. Do you think there's a good ethical reason?
No, it's not. It's about the bathroom you personally feel comfortable.
No, hold on. Do you think that bathrooms are ethics? Do you think if we go and study like ancient philosophy, we're gonna find like information about like men should have men's bathrooms and women should have women's bathrooms? They only exist for people's comfort. That's it. You can go to countries that have non-gendered bathrooms. There's not like an ethical standard there. It's literally just about what people feel comfortable with.
I don't know what that has to do with what I was saying.
Because you're getting into some weird, like, what is the ethical standard here?
No, I was saying it should be based off the person's identity and not the optics. So then you say
I understand, but you don't have a basis for that. You said that, but you haven't given a reason for that. Are you placing the individual's comfort against the comfort of every other person in there?
I guess the thing that confused me then was, if you care about comfort, then it feels like I said, like half-baked, because you don't really care, because you think as long as we keep conservatives in the dark and they don't know what's in the person's pants, then they'll be okay with it.
I don't think you have a right to know what's in every person's pants.
It's not about that. It's not like about checking at the door.
What is it about? It's about people feeling comfortable in the bathroom. And the reality is more women would feel comfortable with Blair White going to the bathroom than Buck Angel.
But they don't see it as real comfort if it's like ignorant comfort. So it's like the idea
But all the comfort is ignorant comfort. You don't know.
Listen.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a guy and you're conservative. Let's say you're a tradcon. Same way like this guy probably could have gone without knowing that I do OF. I felt unethical not telling him. Even though I don't see it as ethically bad, I still understand, okay, he has his own like set of ethics, and it's not my position to lie to him because I think his ethics are, you know what I mean, skewed, whatever. So if you're a guy and you think trans women are men and you do not want to a trans woman, I think it's unethical for then a trans woman, if they've undergone all the procedures, to that man and trick him essentially. But then you could say, oh, well, he didn't know. And essentially, if you were to poll men, be like, would you rather Blair White or Buck Angel? And you don't tell them. And then let's say Blair did undergo bottom surgery and she had like a convincing pussy or whatever, and you were to say, okay, and then they them, you shouldn't then deduce that it's okay to do that.
I agree.
So my point is just basing it off, like saying, oh, conservatives will be okay with it because what they see is what they get. The difference is there's a really
different level of consent or moral standard compared to having sex with somebody versus sharing a bathroom with somebody.
I'm just trying to understand what your position is, because I'm okay with people with dicks going into the women's bath. Like, I'm basing it off gender identity. I'm just saying gender expression feels random because it doesn't make either party happy, because it doesn't make the trans person happy, because now they have to conform to like conventions of femininity or masculinity.
In order to make that analogy work, it would have to be like, let's say that one sex has like a massive fucking like allergy to blood ever. Or something. If there's blood within like 20 feet of them, it's gonna like fucking kill them or some shit. Or it's gonna cause them to have a breakout. In that case, I would say sharing a bathroom with a biological male or biological female requires a high level of consent, because you're engaging in something in the bathroom that if they take a tampon out or something, all of a sudden you're gonna have breakouts or whatever. That'd be more analogous to the sexual interaction. Oh. Because a sexual interaction is like you're engaging in sex with somebody with a whole bunch of presumptions about like what type of person this is and what you're choosing to like share this sexual activity with. That level is way, way, way higher than like I'm going to the bathroom in a stall next to somebody. There's not like a personal contract or consensual thing being created there. You're just like going to the bathroom because you think it's like a safe space to go to the bathroom with. But again, I think that standard is like way easier than gender expression, because that just causes more problems for literally everybody, I think.
I just don't see it that way, because then again, I think so what is it, so many people identify as trans now, or like non-binary, and again, I think people should be able to like go into the bathroom, they feel like without feeling the pressure, because I think otherwise you're just gonna see like an
why do you think individuals,
you're just gonna see an uptick of people doing gender conforming things to their face and like getting surgery, and you even said surgery is more permanent.
We're not rubbing this in. Why do you think that an individual's comfort to go into the bathroom they want is more important than everybody else's comfort in that bathroom?
Because like I said, I think people are superficial, and I think just because people would maybe have a visceral reaction to someone with a deformity going to the bathroom doesn't mean they should go to a private bathroom. So I'm keeping that standard consistent.
Okay, so you're changing the standard across all of society because of some people that might have hideous deformities?
I'm saying it shouldn't be based off the reaction of people, because people, I'm saying, have visceral reactions.
So then why are you okay with gender bathrooms at all?
So just because someone has a visceral reaction to a bearded woman doesn't mean the bearded woman should go into the men's bathroom, which is what you suggested. And just because someone has a deformity doesn't mean they should wait till everyone's gone and go into the bathroom. And just because a burly man hasn't undergone all the facial feminization doesn't mean they have to go into the men's bathroom either.
We don't have agreements about pretty or ugly or deformed people going into bathrooms. The agreements we have right now socially are female bathroom, male bathroom.
Okay.
We generally make that assessment based on how we see people. So people should go into the bathrooms that they look like. That standard works for 99% of society.
You were saying the standard should be based off the optics and how people react in their comfort, and I'm saying people probably do feel uncomfortable, even though they don't say anything about it, because we've already set female and male bathrooms.
You want to make the one person who wants to go into the bathroom they identify with, their comfort supersedes the comfort of everybody else in that bathroom.
I don't think it's supersede. I think it's on par.
No. One person's comfort is on par with 10 people's comfort. You'd say that, on par with.
I would, because of the example of the deformity or the bearded woman, yeah.
Okay. I disagree, but okay. I don't.
Because then, by that logic, why not just have race segregated bathrooms? Because if you're in a part of the South where they hate black people or brown people, and you're going to a bathroom, you're like a black woman or a brown woman, and you're walking to a bathroom with 10 white women, should I not do that because it makes them uncomfortable, or are you implying that I'm superseding their comfort because they're a majority of the bathroom?
Do you think there's as big a difference between male versus female as there is between black and white? Because there's a difference why there might be a male and a female bathroom versus a white versus a black bathroom.
Genitals and
but if you wanted to say that, like, so for instance, if you wanted to bring out this argument, then what I would end up saying is we should probably just have all gender neutral bathrooms. But as long as we have segregated, like, if I were to make this more analogous, let's say we go way back and we say, okay, we have gender segregated bathrooms, okay? In gender segregated bathrooms, let's say you've got mixed race people or mulattoes or half-breeds or whatever the fuck you guys call mixed race people today, right? And you're telling me, oh, well, they're mixed race, so they should be able to go to the white or the black bathroom. Obviously, the answer is no. They should probably always go to the black bathroom if we had segregated bathrooms, right? Or would you say you should go to the bathroom that you identify more with?
You'd be presuming that I'm morally backing.
Well, no. I'm asking. Well, no. I'm asking. If there were race segregated bathrooms, do you think you should go to the bathroom that you identify as, or what you look like?
I don't know how to even think about this because it's like
Well, I'm just asking. Should you go to the bathroom that you identify as? You got one white parent and one black parent. Should you go to the bathroom that you identify as, or the bathroom that you look like?
I think in that scenario, you should go to whatever bathroom you want, some civil disobedience. But anyway. Okay.
In that case, so then what you're arguing for now is really just the abolition of gendered bathrooms. If you want to argue against that, sure.
I was saying gender segregated bathrooms are not on the basis of gender expression. They're on the basis of differentiation of genitals. So you're saying, no, it's about what people are comfortable with. And they didn't separate the bathrooms just so that people who look like girls go into. They do it to keep pussies away from dicks. So I'm saying if that's not the basis of why you think trans should go into different bathrooms, then I don't understand what your argument is.
I think they do it on the basis of who feels comfortable around who.
Assuming that everyone has the same genitals. And I'm saying you're already circumventing that by being pro dick in the women's bathroom if the secondary sex characteristics are female, female and all that, right?
Well, I like my answer more than everybody should just go to whatever they identify with, and that everybody gets super I'm mad about it. I think that people will look at people, they'll identify them with the way they look, and then that's the bathroom that they'd be comfortable in.
Okay, so just you actually stand by what you were saying, then that the bearded woman who can't cut her hair for religion. Yes, I'm going to say the bearded woman with a hyper niche 0.001% genetic anomaly should probably go to the male bathroom. She probably doesn't even look like a man, would be my guess. And you're just like pulling this example, it's like way out of the norm. But like, yeah, I would say that she should, rather than everybody just go into whatever bathroom they identify with. I think that's an untenable, insane position that'll lead to everybody like going insane. Like that would, like nobody would be happy with that. Trans people wouldn't be happy with that, and cis people wouldn't be happy with that. Okay.
What else?
I think it's Farha 20 now. Destiny 0.
What is Farha 20?
Like my points.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yeah, go for it. What do we got?
Well, do you have anything?
Nope, I'm just chilling.
You told me last time you were going to think about things too.
No, I didn't.
Because you were like, I don't want you to feel like you have to do everything.
I changed my mind.
Oh, okay. So Dusty and I had a huge fight the other day about cosmetic surgery.
Uh-huh.
Because I was saying I don't like that the moral weight of beauty standards is burdened on women who get cosmetic surgery, like that they're seen as the ones who are promoting and perpetuating like toxic conventions of aesthetics, but we don't really place that onus on like anyone else. Like, I don't think we place that on necessarily even like social media companies for making these filters necessarily, but it's always just these like girls who are able to afford getting work done who are kind of just seen as, doing something ethically wrong. And I think you were saying that you do feel like there's something ethically wrong with getting cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. And my view is that it is a narrowing of what should be like subjective beauty standards to some extent, and that as people, there's a whole bunch of bad knock-on effects to like the narrowing via surgery of showing like what an acceptable woman looks like. I think that's my issue.
Yeah. So then we argued about this for like 10 hours because I was saying I just don't understand why cosmetic surgery is seen as the one thing that's just morally condemnable. But, for instance, like if I were to grow out my hair and like every girl has long hair, that in a way is affirming a convention of beauty, because I think it's way more likely that girls are going to feel pressure to like grow out their hair and have long hair. Like how often do you see girls with like buzz cuts or something? Unless they're maybe like not straight, so they don't care about like the male gaze as much. But how often do we see that versus girls who probably feel pressure to get work done? I feel like it's, you know what I mean? Large.
Yeah, and I said the difference is I think there could be a natural variance in hair size. People can grow out their hair, people can cut their hair. I think that's different than going under a scalpel to like shave bones to look a certain way.
Right, and then we also had this conversation because we were talking about getting Invisalign together as best friends. And then I was saying, okay, why do you see braces as being more ethical than getting like work done? Because I could say growing up I couldn't afford braces ever and everyone had straight teeth and people made fun of me for having a gap tooth. So the only reason I think that cosmetic surgery is condemned is because...
Wait, let me answer that question. The difference between braces is I think it's okay to have an idealized version of a mouth because there is like a functional reason for there to be like having a straight row of teeth is functionally a good thing. That every single person, like if we could snap our fingers and give everybody in the world perfect teeth, I think that would be good. Whereas I don't think the same can be said for like cosmetic surgery, like huge boobs or a BBL or anything like that.
I do think a lot of people do get braces for cosmetic reasons.
That doesn't at all address what I just said.
It does, because we were also talking about like teeth whitening and veneers, but you still said cosmetic surgery is not... I don't support teeth whitening or veneers. You don't support it, but you said cosmetic surgery is normatively worse.
I said it's more severe, but I don't support it. I put those all in a similar basket. I think veneers and teeth whitening are both really bad things. I would put them in this because people don't know what anybody looks like anymore. Teeth don't look like that. Teeth aren't supposed to be white like that. And veneers are just weird, unless you've got like some horrible cosmetic problems or whatever, or like teeth rotting or whatever, and you need to cap them off for like a normal mouth. That's probably okay, but...
No, you did say that cosmetic surgery is worse. Okay, so why is it
because
more
I think
severe?
it's a more severe... Because, what do you mean, why is it more severe? Because there's a difference between... It would be like saying that like it's probably more severe to do like the incel like jaw shaving thing than it is to get like boob implants. Like it's just a more severe surgery, more risk of complication, more side effects, more whatever.
Right, but that wasn't your argument, because I said, what if there was no like medical complications? What if there was no like adverse health effects?
Of what?
Plastic surgery. And you still said you'd be against it, and then I said why, and you said because it's not...
Hold on, wait. I'm telling you that in the bucket of things, these things are more severe than others. And you're trying to argue that because I said one thing is more severe or less severe, and I'm giving you the reason why they're more severe, and you're saying, well, let's take away all those severe things. That doesn't mean I'm taking it out of the bucket. It would just mean that it's less severe. But I still have it in the bucket of bad things. So like, let's say there was absolutely zero complications with breast augmentation. You walk in, they snap your fingers, and boom, your breasts grow, and then you walk out. I'd still be against it, but it would be far less severe. It'd be like whitening your teeth. But I'd still be against it.
Right, so I was trying to get to the core of why you're against cosmetic surgery, so that's why I was chipping at the things and the...
Well, if you want to chip at the things, then don't ask me why I think one thing is more severe than the other. Ask me why I have them all in the bucket. Because fighting over ordering the things that I think are bad doesn't convince me that any of the things are good.
Well, I was trying to remove the things of why you see it as bad, because I was trying to figure out like why people are just so viscerally against cosmetic surgery, and I was saying to you why I think people are viscerally against it, and you were like, no, I don't think that's the case. So I was saying...
Hold on, now I don't know if you're asking why are people against it or why am I against it. I can give you different... We can do those two totally different...
you, I know,
Well, sure, but now you just reference other people. You do this thing where you switch a lot. If you want to ask me, I can tell you me. If you want to ask other people, I can tell other people.
Because you disagreed with what my like diagnosis of why I think people think it's wrong, and I think it's one because braces, your parents pay for them when you're growing up, so it's not like something you need to afford. But I think if that wasn't the norm and you had to get adult braces, I feel like they'd be way, you know what I mean? People who get them would probably be seen as also perpetuating like a certain standard. Versus cosmetic surgery, I don't think your parents are going to buy it for you because it's seen as more like superficial, whatever. And then two, obviously it's more expensive than things like makeup, and we're not like attacking women who wear makeup, who grow out their hair. So I think it's more about the like financial envy a little bit. But then you were saying, yeah, and that's valid, because if something's more expensive and less accessible, then it's more harmful because it creates like an unattainable beauty standard. And I would say, I think perpetuating the thing that's easier, more easily attained, is the more impactful thing. Because I think the fact that most people can't afford surgery is a barrier for most people not getting surgery. But the fact that makeup is so accessible, the fact that growing out your hair is common, we end up with a very strict narrowing of beauty standards too, that's still very easy to obtain. So that's why I was trying to ask you, are you actually against the narrowing of beauty standards? Because that can be affirmed through growing out your hair, shaving,
okay, I
makeup.
followed all of you up to the last time. If you want to talk about what everybody thinks, that's fine. But then don't say, but you said this and everybody thinks that. But now you said this. Do you want to talk about me, or do you want to talk about everybody else?
I was telling them what your response was to what I said.
Well, you don't have to tell them what my response is. You're going to ask me right now. But also, you keep doing the two different things, like, well, everybody else says it's probably because of cost and it's blah 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 blah, so you're against this.
No, that's not what I did at all.
Okay, because I don't like even like makeup and all of that. I think all of that is like a totally different thing. But if you want to talk about what society thinks, we can. If you want to talk about what I think, we can. But those are two totally separate
I haven't
arguments.
been conflating them.
Okay, well then what are you asking at the end of this?
I was saying I think this is what society thinks, that they think that cosmetic surgery is worse because it's more expensive, and then your response, you can say yes or no or alter it, was that, yeah, cosmetic surgery is worse because it's financially less accessible, and so it creates an unattainable standard as opposed to makeup. And
I think a lot of people
hair.
believe that, yes.
And then I was saying I think that's actually, but then your initial point of you didn't like cosmetic surgery because it creates a narrow standard of beauty.
Hold on, that's my argument. That's different than the one we just said.
Isn't that what I just said?
Okay, sure. Well, because when you use but, you're implying that it is related to the prior argument. So for instance, if I say, most Muslims don't eat pork, but you do, what am I? I'm implying that you're a Muslim and you're breaking your sin, or I'm implying, or if I say like most girls do this, but you think differently, I'm implying, right? So don't say like society thinks this, but you said this. You're implying
No,
that.
I said.
Okay, I'm just saying don't use that word but, because you're making it sound like I'm part of all of this other thing. So
Yet.
you say and. Okay.
Yet.
Yeah. No, not yet.
Although,
not but. Not
while,
although. Say and. Okay.
Albeit.
And then you said this thing. Okay. So go ahead. Yeah.
Basically, I said, I think society sees cosmetic surgery as worse than all these other practices of beauty because it's more expensive.
Probably part of it. Yes, I would agree with that.
And then you affirmed that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it your integral argument, but you did affirm that, right?
Yeah, it's probably part of a reason.
So then
yeah.
I'm responding to you affirming that.
Okay, yes.
That's where the but comes in.
Okay.
I'm not conflating.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the integral part of your argument.
Okay.
Right? But that's part of your argument. It's in the bucket or whatever?
It's in the bucket of, no, that's not the argument that creates the bucket. That's the argument that orders things in the bucket. Because like I said before, some things being really expensive might make them worse in my opinion, but it still makes all of them bad. For instance, makeup is not that expensive, but I'm generally against a lot of that too. So it doesn't justify the bucket, it just orders things in the bucket.
Yes, and it orders it in a way that I think is antithetical to your main argument of being against cosmetic surgery because it narrows beauty standards, because I was saying something being more expensive creates it from becoming more ubiquitous, because if most girls can't afford to drop 25 racks to get like their face done, then that's going to be less common and create a wider
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Then every girl wearing makeup, every girl has long hair.
I don't know if that's
because, like you just said, it's a natural hair, and anyone can grow out their hair.
You can just keep saying random shit.
I'm not saying random shit at all. This is all.
Okay. Well, no, because now you're steamrolling a whole bunch of other unrelated shit like hair into cosmetic surgery. For the reason why I don't think it's necessarily true to say that, well, if it's more expensive, that means it's out of reach of more people. It's not about what's in reach of more people. It's about what people see. And the problem is when it comes to BBLs and plastic surgery, people see that shit way more than it actually occurs. That's the issue. Cops don't kill unarmed black men very often, but a lot of people see those clips over and over and over and over and over again, and it leads to things like the BLM riots, right? Plastic surgery might be out of reach for most people, but the people that do have it are everywhere. You see it on all of Hollywood, all of fucking TV, all of Instagram, all of OnlyFans, all of Twitch, all of this other stuff. So it creates an impression, even if there aren't very many people that can afford it.
I just think even if you removed all those people who had to get work done to achieve those standards, it would just be supplanted with people who already naturally have those standards, and that create, like, I just don't understand why it's ethically worse to see a girl who has a small nose because she got it done, or has a small nose because she was born like that? Like, doesn't that create, if that's like the plethora of like these Twitch streamers, YouTubers, everyone I'm seeing, isn't that going to have the same effect on me whether or not they got
Do you think it would
done?
be okay for trans women to compete with cis women as long as they were within the biological norms of what cis women had for testosterone and stuff?
I don't understand the question.
Do you think that trans women should be allowed to compete with cis women in sports? Or actually, we'll say this. Do you think men should be allowed to compete with women in sports as long as like their testosterone and everything is very, very, very low?
I don't know. I don't really think about the sports
What if you thought about it?
Huh?
What if you thought about it a little bit?
Do you
think really, really weak men should be allowed to compete with strong women? And then if so, why or why not?
I would say probably not, but that's more so because it's the idea of creating like a women's space to protect like women's independent sense of like achievement and athleticism and all that. So I don't think that applies to the conversation of like...
Okay, you're trying to think so many steps ahead, okay? I'm not trying to think of like, I'm just saying that it seems like even if a man was like very, very, very weak compared to a woman and then was able to compete in sports, the reason why we wouldn't do those things is because the way that they arrived at their particular physical acumen came from fundamentally different areas. Women's sports exist for a reason, and men don't compete in that, even if they happen to be weak, because we want to create a place for like women's sports. When it comes to people with certain types of bodies, like noses or whatever, there's a difference between somebody naturally having something versus somebody unnaturally having something. I think that's the difference. If somebody naturally has a nose that's pretty, or somebody naturally has ears or eyes or boobs or whatever the fuck, I think that's different than like people plastic surgerying their way to that particular thing. I think it's a fundamentally different type of thing.
That's why I feel like just every talking point in anti-cosmetic surgery rhetoric are so inconsistent, because again, then I could bring up braces and say like, should people who have braces be able to occupy the same spaces as women with natural teeth? So
okay, do you want to ask me that question, or do you want society that question? Because the answer I've given to that is braces are different because functionally, I think everybody could have the same set of teeth, and that would be fine. That's a good ideal to strive for. Because there's a functional good reason for everybody to have perfect teeth. But I don't believe there is a perfect nose, boobs, butt. Like there's a lot of variation in human body, and I think that's fine. I think that everybody having like a good, well-structured mouth and teeth or whatever, I think that's an ideal that everybody ought to strive for. I think that's a fundamentally different thing.
Okay, I guess I was just trying to figure out like what your main criticism with it was, because it started with like you saying the narrow beauty standards thing, and like I said, I think that could be affirmed by like other conventions of beauty.
And I would probably be against some of those conventions as well.
Yes, but not the biggest ones, which I think is like...
What were the biggest ones?
I would say shaving your legs. That's super accessible. I'm going to get judged more, if, like I said to you, if I walk out with hairy legs than if I walk out with no makeup, a t-shirt on, whatever. Like if I have hairy legs, like I could go on a date wearing a t-shirt and no makeup. I couldn't go on a date with hairy legs, right? But that's accessible, but that's not something people talk about as much. I mean, rad femmes do, I guess, but... So that's why I'm trying to pinpoint why people are actually against cosmetic surgery so much. And I was thinking, is it just the expenses? Is it the risk? So then I said, let's take away all the risk. Let's take away all the like...
Okay, I think there's a fundamental difference between things that like can grow and change, like shaving legs, cutting hair, trimming fingernails. Like there exists like a ton of like natural variation in terms of like what these things can be. I think that shaving your legs is fundamentally different than like shaving the bones of your chin. Like that's never growing back. I think it's fundamentally like a different type of thing.
That's why I was trying to pinpoint it. So then the issue is just like affecting the actual bone structure. Like that's when it feels like it's gone too far. I'm just trying to figure out like why people just have a visceral reaction to it.
I don't think the variation of your bone structure is like never changing. Like you can't like add it. But like theoretically, I guess in another world where we could push a button or we had like a way to like add or remove bone, we were like functionally had parts we could take on or put back, it would be probably different, I guess, but...
Sure. I just think it's still because of the finances, because there's like, I told you, this like very common product that's
Hold on, wait. You just did the thing again. You're saying I think it's still because of the finances. I'm not making the financial argument. If you want to go back to what society thinks and talk about their arguments, that's fine. But I just gave you my opinion. Like, well, I still think the finances, that's not what I'm arguing.
To be honest, haven't given me your opinion yet.
I literally have said it 15 times. What do you want me to say? What part do you want me to...
The crux of your argument
I told you that there is a bucket of things...
than all these other conventions.
Sure, there is a bucket of things that people can push for that narrow the acceptable range of like what humans can express in terms of beauty.
Yes, I understand that you're against that. And I was saying, why is cosmetic surgery condemned at a higher degree than the other things?
When you say, why is it condemned at a higher degree? Now you're talking public norms.
No, yours.
Okay, why do I not like it more than what?
more than growing out your hair, shaving your legs, and then all the issues you gave. I said you can find a counterexample.
Sure. So the difference between shaving your bones and shaving your hair or your legs is I think there's a natural difference between like the length of people's hairs. You can cut hair to be different or whatever sizes. I think all of that exists on like a natural, wonderful human spectrum, and I think that's fundamentally different than shaving your bones. That will never grow back. It'll never go back to being the same. I think it's a different thing.
Okay, so then is the crux that cosmetic surgery is more severe because it's permanent? I'm just trying to figure out like what the argument is.
Sure. Probably some level of permanence, probably some level of invasiveness.
But then that permanence and invasiveness is fine if it's teeth because we're subscribing to like an idealized version of
because I think
function?
you can, yes, I think there's an idealized version of a mouth that's fine for everybody to strive for.
Okay. I mean, now I'm just going to sound super rad femme, but I guess it just annoys me, yeah, that like the one thing that's more condemnable just happens to be the thing that like young, attractive women get.
Yeah, that's your sexist mind just can't, yeah. But there's nothing I
and
can
then
say
the
about
hair
it.
thing, I guess that doesn't, for me, I don't think that triggers like the uncanny valley effect in men, but I think cosmetic surgery does. Obviously, guys always say like, oh yeah, I hate the feeling of like fake tits and like things like that, and I feel like
I don't know at this point if most guys even care about that. I'm not sure if that's even true. I feel like guys love fake tits now.
Do you?
No?
Okay. Well, I was just
you
asking.
just did the thing again, but go ahead.
Well, because I was tailoring the argument.
No, it's
to,
because
like,
I think you realize your
things
arguments are
you've
weak, so
told
you
me.
keep trying to rope it into like my opinions and thoughts on these things are not the norm. But
Right, I guess I was tailoring it to you because you've told me that before, that you don't like...
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, if the tech, you think they feel weird or whatever. So then I was saying, like, I was trying to figure out if that idea connects with your opinion on cosmetic surgery in general, and it's more like you just find it unattractive.
I think it's, I mean, partially I find it unattractive, but I also think that like there's a wide range of like human bodies that I find attractive. And I think it's sad that people's range of what's attractive is very, 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 very narrow. Like I've dated girls with like A-cup boobs. I've dated girls with nice booties. I've dated like big fucking badonkadonk booties. Like there's all sorts of different like body types that I've been with that I think are like really beautiful and really cool. And the idea that like everybody has to be like one hyper narrow set of things I think is really sad. There's a lot of pressure from women to conform to look a certain way, and then guys all start to want like a certain type of thing, and I think that's kind of shitty. I think it makes everybody's life worse for it. I don't think anybody's life is improved by that.
Yeah, and I guess the reason I kept bringing up hair was because I was saying that like it's more likely you're going to see a girl with like a bump in her nose or like a girl with a variation in her actual like bone structure and all these things than you're going to see a girl with like shorter hair than like chin length, unless she's, you know what I mean, more alternative.
I mean, it super depends on where you're at. You see tons of girls that shave their head in certain scenes. It depends on where you're at. I don't know. I knew 3 girls in high school that shaved their head, so I don't know what you mean by that.
When I said last week, girls in Colorado don't wear makeup, and you said girls will be eviscerated if they don't wear makeup all the time.
I don't.
You were
I
like,
still don't believe
you're
that, yeah.
subscribing. You're like, oh, you're using like a very niche example. I'm like, no, lots of girls don't wear makeup every day.
I don't believe that, but I'll go there.
But now you're talking about like some subcultures of girls with shaven heads. When I'm talking,
well, you're making it sound like there are probably more girls that shave their heads in the United States than girls that get like their like boob implants. Or at least like partial, like I've seen like a lot. What do the all girls do where they like shave like part of it and shit? Like
it's
I
way
see
more
like,
normalized to have hair that's at least like chin length and longer because of a narrow convention of beauty than there are women who probably feel pressured to get cosmetic surgery even if they could afford it. So I would say that's a narrow definition of beauty, but we don't really talk about it as much. We're not telling people like, oh, you should cut your hair more or like do these things. And I think
I don't see it that way. I feel like I could go outside and see 100 different people and see like anywhere from 30 to 50 different hairstyles.
I'm not saying different hairstyles. I'm saying
that's not narrow. 30 to 50 to hairstyles is a lot different than like what people look like. Have you seen like the gif of like the Korean supermodels or whatever? I think this is what happens when people start going crazy with the plastic surgery stuff. Fuck. Can somebody link me this? I think like this is like the end result, I think, of like everybody doing infinite plastic surgery. Like this is like hellspawn world. But even in this world, at least like they've got like different types of hair or whatever.
I guess my point was like, why is this scene... I really think the reason we're having a reaction to this is again because of like the uncanny valley effect. We're like, this feels wrong.
It's not uncanny valley. I think
I show you 20 celebrities right now, all with the same exact hairstyle, you would not have a visceral reaction to it. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
hold on, you just did it again. Where you talked about like this is why people have a visceral reaction and
no,
say this is what you would think.
No, you just had a visceral reaction to this.
I would, but I don't know if most guys would.
To this?
No, I think guys love this fucking look. Guys are obsessed with fucking Korean girls and jerk off to this shit all the fucking time.
I'm not talking about the race themselves. I'm saying I think guys would find it uncanny.
To this type of like plastic surgery fucking girl. I think a lot of guys love this type of shit. They're super into it.
I think they'd find it a bit uncanny to see like a sideshow of 50 girls all with the exact same face.
I mean, maybe if you do a slideshow image like that or whatever, but if they see these girls over and over and over again, I think they would like it. I think they would enjoy it. I think it's a big thing that guys get off to now.
Okay, then you'd probably feel differently if you didn't see it in that montage.
I feel like it's different. I'm not talking about like, you're trying to define everything I'm feeling by some uncanny feeling. I'm not trying to define it by an uncanny feeling. I'm just saying that like in a world where everybody's like, oh, like plastic surgery is like so cool, let's all do it or whatever, this is what you get. Is that like everybody's gonna try to have like the same fucking looking face. I think it's just really bad. In my opinion, but.
Okay. I'm not even saying that everyone should, like, strive to look exactly the same. I guess I just get annoyed when people just, like I was saying, place the weight of, like, beauty standards just on girls who get cosmetic surgery when there's so many other ways beauty conventions are affirmed in everyday life. But that's why I thought the only difference was just because of, like, financial envy. Because, you know what I mean? Like, you obviously brought up the medical risk, but then I said even without the medical risk that you had a problem with it. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Asian boy bands look the same too. I don't know if they do the same plastic surgery shit or not. It might in South Korea. They might. Who knows?